What's up, YouTube? So if you've been watching the channel for some time now, you're probably noticing that this is a little bit of a wider angle than it's been for the past couple of weeks, and that's because I bought a new lens. And so today's a pretty exciting day, not just because I bought a new lens, but actually because my brother is trading in his truck right here for a new truck, and also my cousin Benjamin is getting married tonight. So got a whole bunch going on today. Kind of wanted to test this lens out for the very first time today and just keep track of what's going on for the day. So I'm really excited. Me and Logan are heading out real soon to pick up his new truck, and then in a couple hours we're going to the wedding ceremony. I'm not filming it. I'm not actually like doing the wedding video itself, but I'm gonna be there, and I think I'm gonna bring my camera in there. So today's gonna be a super solid day. Let's jump into it. If you've been following the channel for the past couple months, you'll know that I bought that truck and that trailer very recently as well. And so I love that truck. It's a Toyota Tacoma. Fantastic vehicle. I'm absolutely in love with it. But I've been testing new Ram 1500s with Logan for the past couple of weeks, and there's Logan right there. They're pretty awesome vehicles, so it definitely makes me like second guess my purchase, but I don't know. I think I'm happy with the Tacoma. Super excited for Logan. Let's do a quick montage right now of his truck, and then let's go get his new one. You pumped?
I am pumped. I'm sad too.
Is that custom exhaust?
That's the custom.
It doesn't actually even have an exhaust pipe at this point. Look right here. Literally no exhaust pipe. He's ready for a new truck. This is the farewell drive.
Smoky burnouts and bad decisions about to happen, bud.
Okay, there's only a couple problems with this truck. Number one, no exhaust. Two, no AC. 3, no airbags. 4, what else do we got?
No ABS, traction control.
No traction control, no anti-lock brakes.
It's just custom though. It's not a problem.
Yeah, there's nothing broken about it. It's just custom.
Send it.
Burnouts in this one.
Oh, it's gonna be a couple minutes. At 50,000 miles, I'll start doing burnouts again.
Excuse me for this little bit of a mess back here, but getting ready for a wedding, so everything's a little bit pulled apart. But I realized that in the beginning of this video, I didn't even talk about what lens I had purchased. And so the lens I'm using today that I'm kind of testing out is the 16-35 f4 Sony lens. And this thing is awesome. As you can tell right here, it is insanely wide, like insanely wide. And a big part of the reason why I got it is because the lens I was using beforehand, the Tamron 28-75 f2.8, it was just a little bit too zoomed in on my head. So it was like pretty much right here before, which to be quite honest, for things like vlogging is just a little bit too tight. So having this little bit of an extra wide angle, not even a little bit, it's a lot of bit of extra wide angle, it's so helpful for things like vlogging. So there's a couple different reasons why I picked it, and I'm gonna talk about that at the end of the video. But for right now, I need to get ready for this wedding. I'm gonna spare you watching me get dressed. So real quick, good to go. As usual on the first one, ready. And so Logan and Lucas are getting ready right now, and it's the perfect opportunity to test out the B-roll capabilities of this lens. Let's do it. Very successful first half of the day. It is so hot out right now. It's way too hot to be wearing a full suit, but hopefully the church has air conditioning because I'm melting right now. So the plan for the rest of the afternoon is we got 2 o'clock, we got church, or the reception, not the reception, the ceremony, and then we got like a 2 or 3 hour break, which is kind of a long break, but that's okay. Nick is actually coming over here to take some photos of us in between, because my mom's just taking this as an opportunity to like get family photos of us because we never dress up together, but that should be fun. Nick's coming over and he's bringing like his whole lighting setup and all of that stuff, so those photos should come out dope. And then after that we have the reception from like 6 o'clock until 11 o'clock at night, so that's gonna be super fun. But yeah, this afternoon's gonna be really fun. Let's get after it. and let's keep testing this lens. So commenting on this lens real quick. So the biggest difference between this lens and the other lenses that I have is that this is actually a native Sony lens. My other two lenses are the Tamron 28-75 and then the Sigma 35-1.4. And the autofocus on those is very, very good. It's very fast. However, this even beats it a little bit. I noticed that the face tracking on this lens specifically finds people's faces so much faster than my other lenses, and it seems to lock on a little bit quicker, particularly in video, than those other lenses do. Those other lenses have a great autofocus system and they really crush it. However, this 16-35, I don't know if it's just this particular lens or if it's the fact that it's a Sony like native lens, but the autofocus on it is like untouchable.
Let's go, boys!
Very successful day so far. We just shot with Nick for probably like 20 or 30 minutes. Super solid session. Nick is unreal. Took a ton of solid photos. I actually just put them on my computer and already looked through them. They look awesome. And so I'll show you a couple of those obviously right now. But for the rest of the afternoon, we're kind of chilling out here at the house for a little bit because there's like a 3-hour gap in between the ceremony and the reception. And so I'm gonna chill out here probably for like another hour, then head to the reception. It's probably gonna be a pretty damn long night. I think it's going from like 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And so, yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna talk to the camera, but I'm definitely gonna get some footage. And so I'm gonna get some footage there, and then I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow morning. Actually, before we head over there, I'll give you my thoughts on this lens so far. So obviously you just saw, I took a bunch of footage when we went to the ceremony, and this lens certainly is not the lens that I would bring as like my all-in-one run and gun lens. So it works really, really nicely for vlogging, for stuff like this. But for something like a wedding, I would definitely have like a 70-200 on and then probably use this in conjunction with that, but it definitely wouldn't be the only lens that I bring. I definitely would want to have more than just this lens if I was shooting something like a wedding. But for vlogging, for all intents and purposes, it's perfect. I love how I can just point it at me, and I know that pretty much anywhere that I go in this general vicinity, I'm gonna be perfectly in the frame. So that is definitely the nicest thing about this lens when it comes to this, especially because the Sony a7 III doesn't have that flip out screen. But in addition to that, like I said, the autofocus on this thing is fantastic. And even though it's just an f4 lens, it still has the ability to blur the background out a little bit, like you can see right here. And yeah, I've been really enjoying this lens. I'm gonna use it for the rest of the night, and then tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm gonna give you my final opinion on it after my first use. Alright YouTube, it is the next day. I actually just got back from the gym. I wanted to say thank you guys for following me around for the day. I figured since it was a rather fun day, it might be a good way to like test out this new lens, the Sony 16-35 f4. And so I thought rather than just talking about it and giving like a first take or first look at it, I would just use it for the day and give you my thoughts based on that. So first off, congrats to Ben and Molly on their wedding, and also congrats to Logan on getting that new truck. So yesterday was an awesome day, and yeah, really enjoyed vlogging it, really enjoyed just shooting the entire day. It was super fun, and now I'll give you my thoughts on this lens. So I certainly have not used this lens for long enough to give it a full review. This was literally my first time ever using it for like a formal video. It wasn't even a formal video, it was literally just a vlog. But yeah, I can definitely give you my first couple of takes on what I really like about the lens. And so the first thing is my ability to use this lens for like handheld dynamic movements and things of that nature. Because the lens is so wide, you're able to really exaggerate handheld movements and make it look like you're almost using a gimbal when you're not necessarily using a gimbal. So I put my camera in 120 frames per second, and I'm able to do like really slight hand motions with things in the foreground, things in the background, and shifting different things around in order to make it look like I'm doing a humongous camera move, when in reality I'm only moving the camera a couple of inches, and it's giving us that really, really dynamic look. And so that's the first thing that I really like about this lens. And then the second thing is just how easy it is to frame myself up when I'm vlogging. And so this is a perfect example. I have the camera probably about a foot away from my hand right now, and I can tell, or I already know without even seeing the back of the screen, that I'm perfectly in the frame right now. And in addition to how wide of an angle it is, I know for a fact that I'm in focus right now because it hasn't failed me yet, knock on wood. Knock on wood, I'm pretty confident I'm in focus right now because it really hasn't failed me yet. It has been so good with focus, especially with face tracking on. When it's able to see somebody's face, it's just locked on, and I haven't had to worry about a damn thing. And so yeah, how wide of an angle it is and how easy it is to frame myself up when vlogging is definitely something that I really, really like about this lens. The natural question that I'm going to get from a lot of people is, why didn't you get the 16-35 f2.8 or the 17-28 f2.8? And so I have really simple answers to both of those questions. And so the reason I didn't get the 16-35 2.8 and I got the f4 instead is because the 2.8 is like $2,300 or something like that. I got this thing used for a lot less than that. I could have literally bought 3 of these lenses for the cost of one of those lenses. And in addition to that, there's a massive difference in size. I prefer the smaller size of the f4, and so that's another reason. But the primary reason was just because of that massive price differential. And then the reason I didn't get the 17-28 f2.8, which is pretty much around the same price point, especially when you're buying this thing used. That lens, the 17-28, will probably actually be even cheaper once there's more used ones on the market. But the reason I didn't get that one and I got this one instead is because that one doesn't go all the way to 35 millimeters. I like the fact that this goes from 16 all the way to 35. I like having that little bit of extra reach, and that 7 millimeters between 28 and 35 is actually a lot bigger of a difference than you would think. So anyways, guys, thank you a ton for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If you liked it and you like this kind of style of vlogging and testing out a new piece of equipment, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my future content, definitely hit the subscribe button below. I'm actually going on a 4-day camping trip this weekend up to the Adirondacks, probably to New Hampshire, and maybe even potentially to Maine. I'm really trying to take advantage of the fact that it is fall here in upstate New York and the Northeast, and all of the leaves are changing colors. It is beautiful outside. Not quite yet here in Buffalo. Things are starting to change, but I know for a fact that further up north, the leaves are starting to change, and I need to get up there as soon as possible to check that out. So if you want to see some of my content going up further in the Northeast, up to New Hampshire and Maine, things like that, definitely hit that subscribe button below, because that's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm super excited, and I'll plan on seeing you guys in my video next week. Peace.